Welcome back to the Mountain Weekend Show. We're here at Elf's Lodge, where we're going to talk to some of the members of the Wild Old Bunch. It's a group of people who get together daily to talk about life, to ski, and to stay young. How long have you been a member of the Wild Old Bunch?
I've been a member about 4 years. I moved here from Wisconsin, and but I've known about the group for like 20 years, I think. Yeah.
What is it about Alta that keeps you coming back?
Alta is my favorite place to ski in the whole world because the conditions are always great. It doesn't matter, we just usually have really good snow here. And the people, I just like the feeling of being almost like heaven is here.
Tell us one of your favorite memories of the group.
Well, I know we've been coming here since the 60s, and we would see this table with the older group here, and we thought, oh, geez, all these old people. Well, then we met one who was in his 90s, and we realized, hey, this is a great thing to do. We ought to be here and be healthy into our 90s.
Yeah.
So I think we know the area really well, and the snow is always good. So that's, I guess, the thing we like the most about Alta.
We have a 98-and-a-half-year-old that still skis off trail in the deep powder, and his skiing buddy is 91 years old this year, and they've been on Skiing Utah for the last 3 years. So they're our objective. That's what we aspire to be.
Yeah. So the group keeps you young, right?
You bet.
How often do you guys meet?
Well, there's usually people here every day at the table, a different mixed group, but it's very much like this on a regular basis.
Can you tell us about the history of the group?
Oh, well, it started back in about 71, 72, and there were 3 or 4 guys that got together and went skiing. One day they decided to take some movies, and the term Wild Old Bunch came from the bandits used to be in Utah, the Wild Bunch. And then they added the music to the movie, and from that movie, at any rate, it was a bunch of guys that got together and were friendly and very gregarious and great skiers and had a lot of fun.
How long have you been a member?
I was here at the beginning.
Okay.
45 years, I guess.
Tell them about Alpenglow.
Yeah, we had the restaurant here, the one that preceded this one. And so the Wild Old Bunch guys would come in for coffee and maybe a little bit of stuff from under the counter. We won't say what it was.
Sure.
And at any rate, they were gathered here at one of the tables, usually 3 or 4 days a week. Sometimes, if the powder was great, they'd be here. They were always here when the powder was good. So that was Rush Spedden and Art Wilder and Johnny Johnson and Johnny Bell. These were all fun people.
Awesome.
But we've been still at it, and we hope the group will go on forever.
Hi.
Hi, I know what I want to tell you. You don't have to ask me a question.
Please go ahead.
The first time I sat down with this group was 2 years ago when I just turned 80, started skiing free here. There were 5 guys around the table, and I thought, well, it's time I joined them. I'm 80 years old, introduced myself. I was the youngest guy here. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
So I brought my wife with me next time. She's 2 years younger. We ski 2 or 3 days a week. Enjoy it a lot.
So you've been a member for a few years as well.
Yes, I was an honorary member for a couple of years, and I just qualified this year for the 80.
Okay. So is 80 the minimum age?
No, I mean I don't think so.
Yeah.
There are people who aren't quite 80 yet.
How are you?
You want to tell me about your Wednesday nights?
Wednesday night is just it's a potluck dinner at Sweet Tomatoes. Everybody just gets together, grabs a dinner, sits, talks, has a good time.
How long have you been a member?
I'm a newbie,
Okay.
about 1.5 years. And you definitely don't have to be 80. No.
You just have to be wild.
Perhaps, yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
It's a good group.
Did you earn your patch yet?
Yeah, mine's home on the dresser. I'm just telling her. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
My seamstress hasn't sewed it on yet.
Oh, sure. You're going to pass the blame, huh?
Yeah.
That's what marriage is, right?
Yes, of course.
So how long have you been a member?
About a year and a half, and we've been skiing at Alta for longer than that. We came out from the east to live in Logan and came down a few times from Logan each year, but we moved down here just before the Olympics and have been having a ball ever since, and then discovered this group very late in that amount of time.
Now, do you have any fun memories? Crazy, wild moments?
With that guy, any moment is a crazy, wild moment.
I love it.
Figured any bunch that called themselves the Wild Bunch was definitely for us.
So I hear you came from Florida.
Yeah, we come from the Florida Keys, my wife Susan and I. And back a few years ago, my friend George Thompson, who just turned 80 recently, brought me and introduced me a bunch of folks here called the Wild Old Bunch. And a gentleman named Russ Spedden, who's no longer with us, he gave me an honorary patch because I was only 58 at the time. So I don't know if there is an age limit, but they made me an honorary member. And now that I'm 62, I feel like I'm one of the crowd, and I aspire to be skiing with all the older folks, and they're a great example for me, I'll tell you what.
Favorite memory?
Oh gosh, like I said, I don't think I have a memory anymore. But my favorite memories were probably 20 years ago when I first started coming here, and I'd be with a big group of people from Wisconsin, and we'd ski for a week or two and just have a great time. I just remember being very intimidated when I first saw this place, though, I must admit, because it was like, ugh, you know, it was steep and scary looking. But then once I got going on it, it was just really fun.
My favorite memory is when George Jetnoff was 95 years old. He said, I must be the biggest optimist in the world. And I said, why is that, George? And he says, well, I just bought a new pair of skis, and they ought to last me about 10 years. So.
Favorite memory?
Oh, I think it would have to be skiing in the castle with the old original members when you could go out to the castle 4 days after, and yours are the first tracks.
Well, I was skiing up here a couple of seasons ago with my two young granddaughters, and we got on the Supreme lift, which has that moving sidewalk, and I turned to them and said, be very careful when you get on, don't slip, and one of my right foot went off the track, and I fell. They stopped the lift, and they said, what are you doing, Grandpa? I said, I'm falling off the lift. I mean, it still sticks with me. Those kids I was afraid they couldn't do it,
sure.
but I couldn't do it. But now I've mastered that. I get up there pretty easily now.
My favorite memory is skiing here with my son. And now we get to ski with my grandson, so that makes it special too. And the reason I like being here, I think even if I hated skiing, I would come because it is so incredibly beautiful up here. It just doesn't stop. We marvel at it on every ride up the lift. It's beautiful and it's great skiing. What can you beat?
It was really fun to talk to some members of the Wild Old Bunch, get some memories, learn how they stay young, and I met some fellow Wisconsinites. We'll be right back with more of the Mountain Weekend Show.